Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Note Closer Show. I'm Scott Carson, your host. Excited to be here, and always humbled that you take time in your busy schedule to either watch us live on Facebook or listen to us on iTunes or Stitcher on the podcast side, or to watch the replays from the website or from LinkedIn or anything else that we provide on a way to really help us communicate with our tribe. So first and foremost, it's Friday here in the offices. It's been a very, very hectic week. As we kind of get prepped for our Note Mastermind upcoming next week, the Quest Expo next weekend. We are just about capacity out at over 60 people for the Note Mastermind in Dallas, taking place next Thursday and Friday. So we're excited about that. Excited to be heading down to San Antonio Monday for the Propelio San Antonio Real Estate Investor Meetup, where I'll be speaking at. Excited to be there. Good job, Ryan Harper. Looking forward to hanging out with a couple other 100 investors. Good morning to everybody out there. Good morning, Cedric. We look forward to seeing you next week as well. Cedric, hey, drop me an email when you get a second. I got something I want to run by you for next week. So drop me an email, Cedric, okay? What I want to talk about today, though, is a kind of a touchy subject. But I think it's something that needs to be talked about because it's something that happens enough in the industry that you've got to be able to, call an audible from time to time. And that's all about what happens when good deals go bad. And, if you enjoy this video, I'm going to ask you, if you're watching this live, to go ahead and share it, okay? Today's hashtag is when good goes bad. All right? When good goes bad. Because let's face it, not every deal is a slam, dunk, home run, touchdown, goal, whatever your sport is, okay? Not every deal is always going to be a winner. Every deal has a different country western song to it, especially in the non-performing debt side. And good morning to you as well, Jim. Looking forward to see you next week as well. But let's face it, what happens in the industry, and this is not just in notes. It happens in fix and flips and wholesale deals. Not so much wholesale deals, because wholesalers often don't have really anything invested in the game except a contract and the ability to pull the plug. But new note investors often get in, and they often end up making a mistake. And I know a lot of people are scared to make a mistake. Either they've been snake bit in the past, or they've had things happen to them, or they just don't know what they just don't know, right? So let's cover some of the things that could go wrong. First and foremost, let's talk about the three biggest things that you really need to make sure of. Value. You've always got to make sure that value is accurate. How do you make sure value being accurate? Well, that's making sure you have eyes on the property. Make sure you have realtors drive by the right property. Okay. Second, checking taxes. Calling and checking taxes. Not just jumping online and looking at what's owed, but checking taxes. All right. Calling the county, see if there's a tax sale pending or there has been a tax sale. It's a big thing. And the third thing is title. Pulling owning report, making sure there's nothing really too crazy behind your first lien, or making sure that your first lien is a first lien. Now, fourth thing, we're just going to throw that out there, acts of God. And I'm going to throw acts of God can be storms and tornadoes. It can also be vandalism, people breaking into your property and doing things like that. And that's why insurance is so valuable for what we do. So let's go through some of these things. What happens? Let's just say you buy a note, and we're going to use I'm not going to mention the investor. We've got an investor in the mastermind who bought a couple notes when he was right off the books. Unfortunately, the realtor drove by the wrong property, took a picture of the nice property, and didn't look at the address when the note that such and such was looking at was actually the trashed out property next to the nice property. So, unfortunately, the investor ended up took the wrong picture, or accepted the wrong picture from the realtor, and bought an ugly asset. Now, fortunate enough for him, he only paid a little bit of money for it, and he was able to move the asset to the next door neighbor by selling the lot with owner financing. That's it, an audible, okay? Luckily, he used his own money on that deal. It was not that much. So that's what things you have to look at, is when you buy something and the value is not there. Let's say it's trashed out inside when you didn't have somebody look at inside, okay? This is why I try to avoid vacant properties at the utmost. So it avoids us looking at or seeing stuff that's trashed on the inside. Okay, if it's an occupied asset, somebody's living there, it's usually in pretty decent shape. It is what it is. Okay. Now, if it is trashed out, you have a couple of things that you have to look at. Hopefully, I'll say that again. Hopefully you bought the asset cheap enough that if you do rehab it, you put some work into it, you can either sell it as an REO and make your investor whole, or B, either sell it as is to a local fix and flipper just to get your investor cashed out and moved on. Now, the thing to keep in mind is you want to try to communicate this stuff as best you can on the front end. If the deal's not going to pay off the investor, what you have to do, and this is one thing I think a lot of investors struggle with, is the more deal scenario. Go out and do more deals. Because if you're just doing one deal and one deal goes south, yeah, you're stuck chuck. But if you're going out and buying multiple deals, your risk is leveraged across the 3, 4, 5, 10, 100, whatever assets you're buying. So the opportunity to be able to repay back an investor, said, listen, I'm going to get this taken care of. All right, I'm going to get you paid off as best I can, and then any interest or any extra that I don't, we're going to make it up in this other deal. But what you have to realize when a deal goes bad, you have to have a solution. Okay. Now, one of the worst deals that we have done, and I'll tell you this right out, is some of our Chicago assets. They have dragged on longer than expected. Foreclosures, evictions, rehabs. We've had a property vandalized 3 times. Luckily, I've been doing other deals to get my investors paid off. Now, they weren't getting paid off all in whole immediately, but we were making payments to them to get paid off. All right. And some investors have been very flexible with us because they know that we're doing other things, and then that they know that we will get them taken care of because of the fact we're doing deals. And that's the biggest thing that has helped us more than anything else with the assets and shock. It did not help that some of our partners on it bailed on us, and I got stuck holding the bag, but that's okay. We'll make it happen. We'll make it work. We always take care of our investors. When things drag out, you just got to try to get things done. One way that has been very helpful for those that struggled is they go out and buy other assets that are very pretty assets. All right, they learn from their due diligence mistakes. They learn from mistakes that they've made, and they learn to avoid that. Well, they either paying a little bit more for somebody to drive by, making sure the realtor takes a photo of the street number on the house, making sure that they peek in the windows, making sure they call the utilities, see if the electric meter is on the house. Those are all obvious clues. If the electric meter is gone, okay, it's probably not. Now, I've visited some assets recently where I'll give you example. It was up in Bay City, Michigan, looking at an asset out not in town, but just outside of town, and they said it was owner occupied. Okay, it was a contract for deed. We drove by the house and it hadn't been mowed. The electric meter was still on, but when you peek in the windows, you can see that it's vacant. The owner had done some work to the property, expanded it. Wasn't bad, but it was a vacant property that had not been boned, although it said occupied on the spreadsheet. Now, that's something to think. Looking at the photo, I would have assumed immediately by seeing a realtor drive-by photo that was vacant. But when I was up there, I literally got out and walked around, took photos. And yes, the electric meter is on. The electric meter was running very slowly, which is okay. But it was not, if I called it, oh yeah, power's on the property. Got to have those eyes and ears to take a look at that stuff. So now if I'd have bought that note, it wouldn't have reinstated, I'll tell you that, because it's not occupied. But there would have been plenty of room there between what I would pay for the note and the value of the property. That, okay, if I foreclose or cancellation of the contract, I can turn around and sell the asset and make some money as is. If I wanted to, could put a little bit of work into it and get it up a little bit and sell it off. So I've got one asset right now. We finished up the eviction on it. It took forever to get this is in Chicago. This is one where it's a 2-story house. Bottom floor has mold in it. So we were ripping all the sheetrock out, ripping all the black mold. Second floor is fine, but ripping all the first floor stuff out. And my realtor's like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, well, listen, give me a bid. It's $30,000 to rehab the property and I can get $150,000 for it. I may do that. If I can sell it right now as is to somebody who's interested at $57,000, I would do that. Because I'd rather take that now. There's no guarantee that my property will get vandalized. When you've been bitten in an area, you try to avoid it. So that's the thing, is you have to have clear communication, true, with your vendors to find out what your options. In some cases, let's say you buy a property, and we've had this happen before. Investors bought a property with the idea to get it reinstated, and the bar moved out. They didn't want to stay. Okay, they just left. All right. Well, then you have the option, and then the bars moved out. Values did not come back in what they expected the values to be. Okay, came in quite a bit lower. And I think the thing from that is that he didn't hire a local agent to pull CMAs. He just did an online valuation. Well, he had the opportunity. It wasn't a bad property. He could literally, he missed a tax bill. There was like a $5,000 tax bill. He didn't call to check taxes. And so the tax bill kind of hurt him. I said, well, you have the opportunity. You turn in a rental. It's in a decent area. It's in Hammond, Indiana. Turn in a rental. Hold on to rental for a year. Pay off that tax bill. A little bit of time. The city will let you put it on a payment plan. Or the county will let you put it on a payment plan and just work through it. Or you can sell it off and basically bust even right now. So he decided to bust even. But that's the thing is you want to have communication on a pretty regular basis. You want to make sure that you have solutions lined up for your investors. Hey, here's the solution. Here's what it is. You also want to make sure that you have the oh shit clauses in your either your funding agreement or your joint venture agreement. That if something does go wrong, you've got some time to fix it. Somebody wants to refinance out of a deal after 12 months because the foreclosure is taking longer. Make sure you buy 90 days if you can. All right. If if they want to get out of their money early, out of the 1 year, there's got to be a penalty in there, an early withdrawal penalty, because if they had an annuity or CD and any other investment, there'd be a penalty as well. So keep that in mind in there. That gives you a little bit of flexibility, gives you some opportunity to get that deal taken care of. All right. Just have solutions. If you have a problem, don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call somebody. I got a phone call yesterday from an investor, a student of ours. Was like, hey, I bought these 2 notes from this fund. It's been over 60 days. I still don't have the collateral. And the money that I borrowed from my investors are getting antsy because I still don't have the collateral files, the hard files yet. I said, well, what's outlined in the agreement? And the agreement was like, well, after 15 days, if I didn't have the hard collateral file, I have the right to ask for a refund. I said, well, I think it's time you ask for a refund. I think you need to call that due diligence or the file due, and that if you don't have the file folders in 7 days, you're going to request a refund and talk to your attorney. He's like, okay, should I draft it up or should my attorney? I said, well, don't have your attorney draft it. Just send a very strong written email right now, and let's see if it fixes. A lot of times that'll solve the story, because a lot of these funds, especially if you're a one-off or two-off buy, and they're used to selling in bulk, sometimes those one-off guys get pushed to the back. I only say it because that's happened to us in the past. It happened to us with a bigger trade too. We bought last year. We bought 60 assets, and we followed up with another 70 assets, roughly about 60 days later. Well, the hard collateral files had not shown up yet from the first trade, and so I literally told the seller, I said, "Listen, man, I love you guys, and I know you're gonna get these two with me, but I'm not gonna fund this $500,000 trade until the collateral files show up, because we're beyond the 30-day time frame now." And you know what happened, right? Suddenly, all my collateral files showed up like a week later. Okay. That's something to keep in mind. Don't be afraid to push back. Look, I haven't got my collateral files yet. I'm not going to fund until I get some new ones. All right. I need to get these things taken care of. I need to get these things fixed, or whatever the problem issues you're getting ready to buy. I said, listen, I'm glad to control this, but I need you to fix this. I need you to fix an assignment, or I need to get this deed recorded, or I need to get the updated assignments. Those are things that, should not be that difficult. They just get brushed, fall through the cracks. They're little things that happen all the time. Look, I don't like paperwork myself either, so I can understand that with some of these bigger funds that are used to trade and stuff like that. It's difficult to go back. Not difficult, just time-consuming to stop what you're doing and go forward. So that's it. You just have to push back a little bit. Hey, I need to get this done. I need this fixed, and I need to work my way through it. All right? And one of the things you can always do, too, look, if you're marketing on a regular basis, if you've got expensive capital in a deal, market and refinance out that expensive capital with cheap capital. If you need to, especially if you take a property back, it becomes an REO. Maybe you'll get a hard money loan to pay off your investor as best you can, and then you're dealing with a hard money lender and you use your investor's money on another deal. That's something to think about too. That's the couple things that we're working through right now. I've got some REOs we've taken back that we're working through, getting some financing on those to help with the rehabs on those, so I'm not financing the whole thing on my own pocket and making things happen. It's a little bit cheaper in the money than splitting the profits 50-50 with investors, but it's all about the deal. Luckily for me, I bought the deals right, so that if something went wrong, I'm sitting okay. And if I didn't, the big beautiful thing is I'd go out and look for more deals. Hey, let's find another deal. Let's find another deal. Let's find another deal. One of my mentors early on, I'll give you an example. One of my early mentors, one of the guys that I learned the note business from, Bob Leonetti and his business partner, Jamie Kayla. They ran a company called Success Mortgage here in Austin, and they actually closed their doors during the peak, but they ended up owning their creditors, their warehouse line lenders, $1 million in bad debt that they could not get back. And they said, listen, so coming after, give us the opportunity, we'll get these things paid off over the next year or two by allowing us to go do some real estate deals. They had a solution. And so their creditors or their warehouse lenders, that's fine, let's do it. We'll set that up for you. So Bob and Jamie just worked their butt off. And I learned a lot from them. They would buy a property, get it fixed up, sell it off, take a little bit of them out of the deal, and then take the big majority and put it towards that balance. And over time, over a couple of years, they had it paid off. Just have to have a solution for when things go bad. If you don't have a solution, you know what you need to do? Pick up the phone and call someone. Hey, Scott, I have a friend of mine who has a note deal, wink, wink, who's dealing with this, because it's all going to happen. Every time it's going to happen. And what you have to do is make sure you don't continue to bang your head against the wall. You come away, maybe you need somebody just to shake you up a little bit and go forward. All right? Because at some point you're going to have a deal that goes bad. There's not every deal is a home run. Not every day is a base hit. There are things that happen in this industry that just weird things. Collateral files get lost. Okay. Values come in different. People break in and violate stuff. And sometimes you have insurance. Sometimes you don't put insurance on stuff. You should put insurance on most of it, but some of the low balance stuff, it doesn't make sense. You're buying low value assets in Detroit. All right. That by the time you pay your deductible, the insurance company is not going to fund a $5,000 or $6,000 valuation. Okay. So that's some of the things that you have to keep in mind. The insurance companies, a lot of times they don't, when you go from a non-performing note to a vacant asset, they don't want to cover that for vandalism in an area that you're in. How do I know? Because it happened to me. It happened to Robbie Woods on a couple assets up in Chicago. Okay. So the thing I want you to keep in mind, this is why it's so important initially when you're starting off to condense where you're looking at assets so you can help build your team to help avoid those type of errors. I know a lot of people want to do everything themselves, and that's the wrong, you're really barking up the wrong tree when you do that, okay? Question here from Laura Blunt, and I'm glad you asked this question, okay? When you finance out your partners, do you just move the money to another deal, or do you pay the partner back? And do you pay anything extra for the use of the money? So when you finance your partners, there's an agreement in there, some interest rate. And so it's up to you and up to your negotiation. Usually what happens is I want to make sure, okay, we're going to take them, clear this out of the deal, move the money out. Usually I'll refund it. I'll wire it back to the account and then have them wire it back to me on a new deal. That way it's clean paperwork. The money was returned and they can roll it back towards something else. Okay. Do you pay anything extra for use of their money? No. I mean, you obviously have usually an interest rate, a flat interest rate in a lot of JV deals if something drags on. You may not. It all depends on how good a negotiation skill you have, Laura, but great question. Okay. Great question out there. Other questions, comments, concerns on this stuff. Because look, I had one of my first flips I did. This is great. Was on sending out postcards and yellow letters and things like that. And in a bar in Round Rock, Texas here, 2001 Oak Lane, I think Oak Lane, something like that. Gorgeous three bedroom, 2.5 bath, red brick house, nice area of Round Rock. When we called, we were taking over subject 2. They're behind by a few months, actually about a year. So we took over subject 2. When I called to check the taxes, the taxes were a low balance. And then what I did not realize with one extra question is that when I called to check the taxes owed, Chase had literally just paid off the tax. It was literally the day in transit. Chase decided to pay off the taxes to avoid a tax foreclosure. Okay. And I'd already had a balance from Chase a week earlier, that I didn't call to double check on the balance. So we get to closing. We go through this. We do rehab the property. We bring in 25 grand in. It drags on longer than expected. We had to drop the value. We had to replace an AC. And then we had a ceiling cave in the bedroom because the AC drip pan over flooded. It was, looking back, it was a great flip to learn from, the things that could have gone wrong. But we come out expecting to make 10 grand, 15 grand in the deal, and we were not going to make anything. Taxes were paid, balance was a lot higher, closing costs were more, totally sucked. So basically, we were going to could not pay her back our investment. Not like our investor was my buddy's mom, who funded the transaction. And we paid her back in the next 6 months over several other deals that we closed on. But she made her money in a 12% return over the year. She was happy. I just paid her back my half of it. My partner on it paid back his half. But you have to realize there are things that are going to happen. Aha moments are going to happen. Okay. This is why it's so important to double check your values, have a realtor check the values and drive by the property. The same realtor that's pulling values needs to drive by. Okay. 2, calling on taxes, checking taxes, making sure of that stuff. And then 3rd, obviously pulling O&E reports. Okay. And 4th, act of God, getting insurance. The beautiful thing is Madison Management. If you use Madison Management, you can literally have them slap insurance on your properties across the board very easily when you purchase. It's one of the nice things that they can do. It's done through Ross Diversified Insurance. It's easy enough addition. Pretty relatively inexpensive for the most part, but it is definitely helpful to have on your book. So anytime you can consolidate it into one kind of vendor area versus you have to do extra things, the easier it is. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns from our Facebook Live audience out there this morning? I always love your questions. Always love answering it. The thing I tell you this, look, the best thing you can do when anything does go wrong is just face it and find a solution. Okay. Find a solution. Sometimes the solution is longer than you want or you initially expected or hoped for. It is what it is. Just work your way through the deal. Work your way through the things. If things take a little bit longer, hey, they take a little bit longer. But at least you're making money. At least you're taking the time to get some stuff. This is why it's so important to under-promise and over-deliver. Okay? I think we're going to do a hashtag for that. Under-promise, over-deliver. There have been times we've done deals and it took a little bit longer. And when it came down to the split and expenses and things like that, my investor wasn't going to make hardly return. So when I just listen, I'll eat the expenses. I'm going to split. We're just going to split the profits above that. And that way you're still going to see about a 15% yield versus a 7% yield. And I'll be fine on my end because my return was still good off the split that I get even after I cover my expenses. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Okay. We had a long question from Michael Rogers here. Okay. I have a sub-performing note in Birmingham, Alabama. Borrower still lives there and wants to stay. He has made 3 payments this year, but is 14 months behind. My servicer had a loss mint signed in November 17, but he only made 3 payments. It's a CFD. Okay. Value of the house is about $30K, but that hasn't been verified yet. I need a decent realtor in Birmingham, about $20K in the note already. Should I evict or try and continue to work with a borrower? Okay, first and foremost, Michael, the fact that you don't know true value is disturbing because you've had this for a while. The fact that he made 3 payments this year, but is 14 months behind, it's time to evict this guy or gal. Whoever it is, you got to get rid of it. It's a contract for deed. Birmingham's a strong enough area. Okay. You need a decent realtor in Birmingham, then get on the phone, call realtor.com or jump on realtor.com and find a realtor in the area. Okay. If you're part of the WCN crew, jump in the WCN crew. Hey, I need a good agent in Birmingham. Okay. If you got 20K in the note, okay, you got to do something with it. All right. I don't know who but if your servicer is letting them make 3 payments and you're not doing anything, the problem falls on you because you're not being aggressive on that deal. Okay. He's 14 months behind. It's time to either, hey, it's time to get rocking or get going. Pay, stay, right? Pay, stay. All right. So, Michael, get on the phone, find an agent, get on Facebook, ask. There's so many ways. I don't have a decent agent. Just ask. Get out there and ask somebody. Okay. That's a big thing out there for everybody. You should be able to find an agent in every market in today's work. There's no excuses not to find a decent agent. If somebody doesn't do something for you, next. Okay. Next. And I'm not, Michael, I want to say thank you first and foremost for sharing, but get on the phone, bud, my friend. I love your Facebook profiles. You sit in the pool with a beer. Hopefully you're not doing that this morning. Get out of the pool and call agent. All right. Servicer is not effective. Well, you have to realize too something. You are in charge of your servicer. You dictate how often are you communicating with your servicer. Okay. Did you go the cheap route and try to manage it yourself? There's servicers. While there are some servicers that are just horrible, and not every one of them stinks in some form or fashion, it's about how effective you are in communicating and driving that force. Okay. Yeah. So exactly. So trust me, we've got several investors that are investing in the Birmingham, Alabama area. I'll go to WCN Group for a realtor. Yes, please do that. If you're in the WCN crew, reach out to Chad Raggio. Chad is from that neck of the woods, moved to Houston. He may know some very well, somebody good down there. I think he's done a couple deals in Birmingham. Okay. Or reach out to, we've had our guest on here before. Is that Birmingham that she's been a part of? Yeah. It's Birmingham. Yes. Maureen McCann with Titan Investment Group. She's a phenomenal resource out there. They've got a realtor group out there. They do a lot of turnkeys down the neck of the woods. Her group can maybe even help you get a bit better value on that stuff. But if you're doing it for $20K, I don't know what you paid for it, but you probably paid too much to begin with. Michael, I hate to say that. It's only worth $30K, but hopefully you're incorrect on your values, because if you don't have somebody that give you true, accurate values, that's the big no-no to begin with. Okay? All right. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. I really do appreciate that. And the group does. And I think a lot of us, when we get into the note business, we're like, oh, this is pretty cool. If it's not your full-time gig, I think Mike used to work doing something else besides notes as well. It's a hobby. It's more of a hobby. Oh, I'll get to it. Someday has to arrive at some point. Okay. Oh, you paid $9K for it. Okay. You paid fine for it, but your $11,000 that you've got into it otherwise, what's that from? Taxes, servicing? It's a CFD. It's a non-performing CFD. Okay. It's not bad. $1,000, 30. That's less than 30 cents on the dollar. It's about right for a $30,000 asset based on a rough stair-step method. Okay. Value was $45K per BPO when I bought the note. I just don't think the value is accurate. Okay. Well, now you need to get a realtor out there. Call the realtor up on the BPO. Have them rerun the numbers. Oftentimes you can do that, but give them a phone call. Say, listen, I really need somebody to drive by the property, take photos. Okay. And come back with the numbers. Because if it's worth 45, then you're still sitting okay. I mean, you're not going to make a lot of. If you're into it for 30, where did that live? Or if you're into it for 20, you still got some opportunity to make some money there. Turn around, sell it, flip fast, get some money. Tried to evict already. Okay. I don't get where the tried comes from. Either you did it or you didn't. Okay. He says here, tried to evict already. Spent $1,200 in attorneys, $1K on taxes. Yeah, that's just the cost of doing business. Okay. Tried to evict already. I don't understand how you tried. If you did, was it not successful? Did it go through? Did you just decide not to do it and decide to do the payment plan with the borrower? Because with a CFD in Alabama, that should not be too. I mean, you're talking maybe a 6-month process at the most. Okay. Jordan Burton. Good morning, Jonathan. Sorry, I didn't say Jordan. Jonathan Burton. Okay. Okay. So here's what it is. Here's a great thing. I'm glad you brought this up, Michael. Michael says, borrower started paying again. Servicer said I had to stop legal. That's correct. If you accepted the payments. Okay. This is one thing. Okay. This borrower's 14 months behind. Start the legal action again. Okay. Start the legal action again and make it where he or she has got to pay the full 14 months. The minute you accept one payment, you have to stop the legal, because then you're basically allowing them to stay. Okay. Now, they can send in a payment. You can actually have your servicer not allow online payments, or if they get a payment, it's rejected back. And say, listen, no, we're requiring the full 14 months due. You did accept payments. You got excited. Ooh, I'll take the $300. It's not the servicer's fault at that point. And that's a very honest mistake. Oh, they want to start paying? Okay, we'll keep them in there because the number should work out. Well, 3 months later, obviously they're not paying again. So what you need to do, restart legal on it, and literally just say, hey, you're not paying. The only reason only way I'd let you pay is if you started paying on time and you came to the table with a nice lump sum. Okay, you're going to come to the table with at least $1,800 or $2,000 or a year of the payments. So you got to get caught back up. Now, that's the thing too. Keep everybody in mind. With borrowers, if they come to the table with a full amount due, you can't evict them. But they have the right to make up their loan and then go from there. Okay. Good morning, Jonathan. I saw you out there yesterday on some of your Facebook Lives. Jonathan Burden, check him out of New Orleans, kicking some butt, doing some fun stuff down there in New Orleans. One of our previous guests here on the No Closer Show. Okay. Hustling in the Big Easy. So, luckily, hopefully, Michael, you've only used your own money. You've had this deal for how long, Mike? Michael says, okay, first step will be to confirm value. Yep, confirm value. Get your legal started. If they've not started, call their service, say, hey, start eviction again. This time, we don't want to accept any payments unless they come to the table. Almost 2 years. Yeah, it's time. And dragging it on, things will happen. I get it. Luckily, it's probably your own money into the deal, which is fine. But reach out to Titan Investment Group, and they can put you in touch with a good realtor out the neck of the woods. Okay, Maureen McCann, friends on Facebook. I'm friends with her on Facebook. Maybe you want to reach out and message her as well. Okay, Maureen's a doll. Machine Gun Marine. Machine Gun McCann's. Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns, guys? Yes, my own money. That's awesome. Okay. So, like I said, look at the beautiful thing is the biggest mistake I made early on was that I tried to go take everything one way. All right. I tried to take every deal one way, and I would bang my head into the wall as things would change. Okay. And so what you have to keep in mind is that with notes, you have multiple exit strategies. So sometimes when things happen, it doesn't always work in what strategy you want. You've got to go the way that the deal goes. What the path of least resistance, I guess, is the word. The way I would say that. Anyway, if you can get the bar reinstated, great, get them started. If you can start paying on time, if they can start do a short sale or subject to or cash for keys or lump sum payoff, okay? Whatever is going to work. That's why it's important to have your service say, hey, what do you want to do? Do you want to stay or do you want to go? If you want to go, that's fine. Let's talk about getting you signed over, deed in lieu, consent to judgment, cancellation of contract, and move on. If you want to stay, you got to pay. You no pay, you no stay, right? Looking forward to meeting you at the Note Expo next weekend as well, or the Quest Expo in Dallas, okay? Is that next? You're talking about the Quest Expo, not the Note Expo. Note Expo is not till November with Eddie Speed. We might be attending, I don't know yet. We've got a pretty hectic first part of November. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns? Anybody else have a deal that they're working through? It's struggling. You know, we're glad to help in any way we can for you. Like I said, if you're listening to this, you're working with a deal, you're struggling, it's dragging on, feel free to drop me an email at scott@weclosenotes.com or go on to Facebook and send me a direct message as well. We're glad to help out any way we can. Like I said, I'll get on the phone with you or we'll talk it through. If you're missing paperwork, things like that. The biggest thing I can tell you, if you have your stuff available, don't send me a text message or email and let your emotions take away from the information. We've had people contact me before, look for help, and I'm like, okay, great. And they're talking through the deal, and it's going in circles, it's not making sense. And finally get down to the bottom line, and what they sent me originally was not accurate at all what they need help with. Okay? So that's the thing I want you guys to realize. Look, if you've got a problem with an issue, who is it with a vendor, give me the full information. Look, I can help you as best I can if I have all the information. If I don't have all the information, it's hard to help. It's literally hard to help if I don't have all the information what's going on with the deal. Okay? All right. Once again, guys, I just got a notice from Ingrid over at Quest. They have over 444 or 440 plus signups for the Quest Expo. So if you're not going to the Quest Expo, you're going to miss out big time. So, Mike, you should probably go to the Quest Expo because I'm probably not going to make it to the Note Expo. Okay? If you want to meet me there, I'll be in Dallas. But huge event. We're so excited to be a part of that. I'll be speaking. My discussion is going to be called Back to the Future Investing. I might just dress up as Doc Brown from Back to the Future. Okay? Might just do that. I might show up in a DeLorean. Who knows? All right? I'm halfway. Am I joking? Halfway, I may not. Who knows? But that's my topic during my speech is Back to the Future Investing. All right? And it's a little bit different. It's not going to be on the traditional find, fund, flip, non-performing notes. that's our normal speech, but we're doing a little something different. I think we're going to make it a little bit of fun and tweak it up so that we can keep the audience pretty entertained. Are you not entertained? All right. Are you not entertained? What's another thing that has gone wrong? I'm trying to think here. I know people that have bought notes and then just walked away. That's crazy. I'm like, why did you waste your money? Literally, they bought notes, they funded. 2 weeks later, they tried to get the wire reversed, which is stupid. That was the first time. And then they disappeared. And then the servicing company's calling me, hey, this guy's one of your students, or do you know this person? I'm like, yeah. And I'm sending emails. There's no responses. And I'm just like, don't freeze up. If you have an issue, don't freeze up. The worst thing you can do is freeze up religiously. Pick up the phone, call somebody for some help. There's often a solution to making things happen. Okay. Often a way to get out of trouble if you will just face it and not be embarrassed and work your way through it. Sometimes your vendors, we've had some deals in Florida that were dragging on. The investor's like, listen, can I just take it over? Can I just buy you out of the deal? I'm like, yeah, just buy me out of the deal. That's fine. Here you go. Run with it. I don't have a problem with that. So anyway, how are we doing on time here? So what kind of questions we got? Anybody posted anything on the line here that I missed out on? Best thing I can tell you guys, like I said, three things that will help you. Always get a value. If you don't trust the BPO, get another realtor. Don't wait around for this. It's easy going to realtor.com and knocking that out. Okay. Don't blame things on your vendors if you're the one not communicating with them. Now, if you told them specifically what you wanted to do and things drag out, then it's up to you to reenact it, because your vendors work on behalf of you. They're sitting there waiting for you to direct them down the path that you want to go, because they can't make the decision for you. The only time they can make a decision is if you give them clear and written, precise instructions of how you want things to be handled. And the more you can be precise, the more you communicate with your vendors, the better off you'll be and get things rock and rolling. So time waits for no man. It waits for no note. And so go out, take action, make something happen. You're going to learn more from your mistakes than you will ever learn from your successes. Fail forward, as somebody was saying earlier to me. I think Kenneth Younger mentioned that on a base camp group there. But glad to help out any way we can. Like I said, you've got us. You're part of the WCN Crew Facebook page. Take advantage of that. It's a great resource. Our private group for students. Just a wealth of knowledge there. And we're not just talking about me either. We're talking about, we've got, what's 870, 860 some odd members of that group. Not all of our students, but a big chunk of them do join that. And it is a wealth of information, wealth of knowledge. Just check it out, WCN Crew. If you're listening and if you join, send me a message on that. If you're not a member of it, say, hey, I listened to you on the podcast, and we'll make sure and get you added to it as well. So other than that, guys, go make something happen. Go learn from your mistakes, and we'll see you all at the top, everybody. Bye.